Hello, YouTubers, friends, compatriots, bootlicker shills, death slaves, serfs, peasants, vassals, minions, metalheads, meat sacks. I'm a useful idiot. Welcome. And usually when I do a video involving music topics, it's usually because it's somebody that's passed. But this time, instead of doing a eulogy, I have to do a tribute. And this is to the group Sir Lord Baltimore, and legendary group. And I only found out recently that a year ago, this month, December, John Garner, the lead singer, drummer, and motivating force in this group, Sir Lord Baltimore, from the early 70s, passed away. And that's one of the problems with some of these more obscure bands. Their greatness is not held up much by the media, and therefore somebody like John Garner can pass away, and I don't really find out about it. And that's unfortunate on a couple levels, because another level is because I got to know John Garner a little bit. He and I have been in contact all these years, and because I tracked him and the other members of Sir Lord Baltimore down about 1990, 1991, and interviewed them over the phone, and both Louis Dombra and John Garner were both surprised to find out that a huge legend had grown up all those years. And so they got their interest rekindled in Sir Lord Baltimore, and at least over the last 10 or 20 years, their profile's been raised to a great extent. But for those who don't know, Sir Lord Baltimore is one of those great lost bands who had a tragic career end when they really could have been something, and it's a really bitter pill for the members of that band. I remember talking to John Garner on the phone on numerous occasions, and he still held a lot of anger towards the way things worked out because of the industry. But as it turns out, there's two sides of that story, and John Garner was quite the wild man, and his behavior necessitated some changes in this legendary group. But they started in 1970 and got together from an ad in a newspaper. The managers who ended up handling Bruce Springsteen years later ended up putting an ad in the paper looking for a new upcoming metal group, and so Sir Lord Baltimore was born, and they managed to put out two albums on Mercury that are just unbelievable, really. A little bit of leftovers of 60s kind of silliness, but overall an incredible proto-metal juggernaut that has to be heard to be believed. Not only is the Stratocaster guitar of Louis Dombra just beyond belief, even by today's standards, just the amount of creativity, especially coming out of a void of early metal. There were not a lot of blueprints for these guys. And then the most conspicuous aspect of Sir Lord Baltimore was John Garner, who I mentioned earlier as the drummer and lead singer, who has a voice that's unparalleled in heavy metal. Even as a young metalhead at the age of 13 or 14, I was really into Black Sabbath and Deep Purple and all that kind of stuff. And even then, when I heard Sir Lord Baltimore, I was totally amazed. But they were doomed to obscurity from the start. Their bad management, and their first tour, they actually opened for Black Sabbath. One of their first shows was at Carnegie Hall, and they just had a real hard time finding their niche at that point, with so much drugs around, and then the management problems, and then the label problems, and then the fact that they were so young. And so anyway, things changed rapidly. They ended up moving out to California, and apparently there was one version of Sir Lord Baltimore that included Michael DeBar's from Silverhead and Detective, and a Hollywood career as a lead singer. And then I remember talking to John Garner, whose real name is John Garnieri, by the way, talking to him on the phone, and him mentioning him going out to audition for Mark Farner. And he said it was quite the odd juxtaposition. Mark Farner wearing a tight jeans and a plaid shirt, and John Garner shows up in his English Invasion ruffled shirts and the like. So anyway, so very bittersweet for me. Like I say, they're one of those legends that I managed to get in contact with and befriend, and I've always enjoyed their music all these years, because even though I'm not exactly what you'd call a metalhead per se, this early metal band by any stretch. Is staggering to hear, even to this day. Just amazingly extreme, and with the propulsion and freneticism of something more like the Stooges. But anyway, God bless John Garner. God bless Sir Lord Baltimore, and their legend will continue to grow as time goes on. I'm a useful idiot. Don't you be one too?